your information and we send you out the giveaway. So that's how this starts. We're so excited to have Pete with us. Pete's been very busy. You've been very busy lately, doing all kinds of stuff.
I have my days. But, we took most of the winter off, but we're starting to get busy again. We were up in Connecticut and Massachusetts last weekend, and of course this weekend was the marathon in Nashville, so we had a big party for that at our house, and a lot of family came in. I didn't get to do the marathon this time because I had a stress fracture in my ankle a couple weeks ago, but we still weren't going to miss the party.
Good.
But yeah, we got a lot going on, camps at our house and a big camp in Montana, and we'll talk about all that stuff later.
Yeah. Can you get us started off with a song?
Sure.
What are you going to play for us?
I'm going to play, it's actually a hymn called On Eagle's Wings, and it's in tribute to James Taylor. I arranged it in his style, and you'll hear some direct rip-offs on this, and maybe some not so direct, but this is On Eagle's Wings.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
Beautiful. Fantastic. Pete has played, you've had such an amazing career. You've played with Leanne Rimes and John Denver, Jimmy Buffett.
No, I haven't played with Jimmy Buffett, but I love his records.
I had that on I pulled that off of somewhere that you had done, you've done some with Jimmy Buffett.
I hear that every now and then.
I am so sorry.
That's okay. No, I take it as a great compliment, Peter Mayer probably wouldn't. There's a Peter Mayer who plays guitar for him, and Peter's an unbelievable guitar player. I did a gig with him once.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great.
And you played with John Oates.
John Oates.
Hall & Oates.
Yeah.
Faith Hill.
I did a recording with Faith
on
her Christmas record.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was great. She was great fun. They're all fun.
Yeah.
Gigs are just fun. And it's so fun because you never know what you're getting into when you show up and you meet someone new. And like with Leanne, I'd played with her band,
Mm-hmm.
but then we all got fired because she wanted a band under 30. Everyone had to be under 30 years old. So that was kind of a funny story because I went home and I stopped at Walgreens and I was kind of laughing up and down the aisles and I said, well, I told the lady, I said, I need some hair color. I'm going to do my blonde tips because that's what the kids are into these days. She said, okay, so she gave me some hair color. I went home and my wife, I handed it to her. I said, do this in my hair and give me some blonde tips. That's what the kids are doing these days. And so she did it in my hair, and about 20 minutes later, I heard her go, uh-oh, you better take a shower right now. I said, why? She goes, just trust me, get in the shower right now. And so I did, and my hair was bright red, well, kind of orange red. And, normally it's dark. And it was 10 o'clock at night. And the next day, I had a recording session. I was working on an album of tunes that were all Scottish.
Mm-hmm.
So I showed up with this bright red hair, and I said, at least somebody here's into the project.
Committed.
Yeah.
Fully committed to the project.
Yeah. But what I was going to say about Leanne, so we all got fired, but then she wanted someone to come and just play guitar for her.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where my forte is, just when I'm one-on-one with someone.
Yeah.
And so I flew out to London, and we did Abbey Road, Live from Abbey Road, which
Yep.
is a show they did there in Abbey Road Studios, and that was a real treat. So I was in the fold for a minute after that. That was great. And John Oates is a great guy. He is the most down-to-earth pop icon you'll ever meet. He is just a regular guy, but he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he's won the BMI whatever Lifetime Achievement Award or whatever that award is, Icon Award. I mean, he's unbelievable, and he's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's just a super nice guy.
Now, did I hear
Yeah.
does he live here in Nashville?
Yes, he's got a home here in Nashville.
Yeah.
You want to know where it is?
No, well, that's
Just kidding, John. I'll never tell.
I wouldn't mind, but the millions of people that we're speaking to right now probably. Well, fantastic. Well, we've been talking about James Taylor this month. We've been kind of devoting an entire month to the wonderful style of James Taylor. Have you ever met him, by any chance?
I played with him one time.
Really?
Yeah, this is kind of a funny story too. I was playing with Leanne Rimes, and we were doing this concert that Neil Young puts on every year for the school called the Bridge School out in California. And we were out there, and we had just a small band, just me, another guitar player, piano player, maybe a bass player, and that was it. And they had a lot of acts. The Foo Fighters were there. James Taylor was there. Of course, Neil was there. The Others, or whatever the Grateful Dead is called now, they were all there. So it was a lot of people there. And so I was hanging out backstage playing guitars with Leanne's other guitar player. And we were just tearing up some tunes like you and I were doing earlier here. And Neil came up and he's like, wow, that's really good. Hey, do you know Comes the Time? I said, sure. He goes, you want to play that with me and James Taylor tonight? I said, sure. He goes, all right, it'll be the last song of the night. I'll tell the sound guy to have an extra DI for you. I said, okay. And he said, all right, see you then. So he walked away, and the guy I was playing with goes, what comes the time? I said, haven't got a clue. It can't be that hard, Not that Neil Young's music isn't tricky. They're all tricky, but I don't want to disrespect him. But I thought, if he offers me the chance, I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
And I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And I found someone who knew the song. I said, hey, play that song for me. Oh, okay, thanks. And I went out and played with him and James. I didn't get to hang with them or talk to them, but I showed up on stage right next to them and played my guitar. It was great.
Wonderful. But you've studied his music a lot, and you've
I
actually
have.
done a lot of teaching about his style. And so I thought this would be a perfect time to invite Pete. Pete's been in. This is your third time with us.
Yeah,
Second
this
or third
is.
time. Yep. And then you were with us one time for our guitar conference too. If I remember
I don't think
right.
I did the guitar conference.
Okay.
That doesn't sound familiar. Although I
Um,
did have a stroke and I could have forgotten.
Well, there you go. So I thought it would be perfect to have you be a part of it and kind of close out our James Taylor
Oh, great.
month for this.
Yeah, thanks so much. This is always great fun coming down here and hanging with you.
Yes, and you're looking great. Tell us. Everybody's going to ask about the stroke, so you might as well give us the nickel story here. It's an amazing.
I had a stroke 4.5 years ago. I shouldn't have lived. I did. I shouldn't be able to play. I shouldn't be able to walk or talk, but I can do all those things. and no one's more stunned than me. You know, why I'm the one to get better, because we did I do some public speaking about this stuff I've been through, and I did one in January here in town, and there were two ladies at the dinner table where I was seated, and they had both had strokes, and initially their strokes weren't as severe as mine. Mine, you remember, I was totally paralyzed on the entire right side of my body, and I couldn't speak.
Yeah.
And they got me into surgery quickly, and but the two ladies, what theirs weren't initially as bad as mine, but their effects were still lingering, and they'd had them years before me.
Yeah.
One couldn't use her right hand very well at all,
Yeah.
and the other was walking with a cane.
Yeah.
And so I'm very blessed, very
Yes.
blessed.
Yes.
You know, and then I had
You have your heart
I
pump.
got my heart pump here. Well, this is the batteries. The heart pump's in my heart, but this baby Don and the twins, I call it. And yeah, after 6 months after I had the stroke, I had suffered heart failure, and I'm doing great now.
You look.
I'm on tour, and everything's good. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think the first time we had you was not too far after that, and you were still coming back.
I remember we played.
Yeah, Sweet Georgia Brown, I think.
Yeah, Sweet Georgia Brown, and I had nothing to say on that song. I was like, this is so embarrassing, you know. Well, I'll just play a couple notes here and there that I remember that work, and
Well,
that was tough.
you're looking great, and glad things are going so well.
Oh,
and
thanks.
tell us about the instrument that you're playing here. What are you playing tonight?
This is a Collings OM1, and it's the Pete Huttlinger signature model. Notice that? I'm the only one that Collings has ever done a signature model for, because they didn't want to get into that, because then everyone would want a signature model. But Steve McCreary, who was a great man, he flew into Houston the day after I had surgery, and that's where they put in the heart pump.
Because you were at
Houston,
the
Texas.
famed Heart Institute there,
yeah.
with Michael DeBakey and all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Bud Frazier did the surgery on me, and he's an unbelievable surgeon. But anyway, Steve flew in to see my wife. He wanted to hang out with her and just kind of check on me. And he took one look at me, laying there with tubes and wires, and he looked around. And back then I was in intensive care, and it was so intensive that they have one nurse for one patient.
Yeah.
For 12 hours, that nurse sits there,
Mhm.
and then, so it was pretty intensive. And anyway, he said, I'm gonna do something to help you guys out, because he knew we were going to be
Yeah.
struggling with a mountain of bills. And so they did this signature model. They did 50 of them, and it was another great blessing to me. I mean, it's unbelievable that they would do that.
Yeah.
They're great folks.
Good folks. Good
So
folks.
this is a standard OM1. It's got an Adirondack top and maple back and sides, and it's as great as every other one they make. It's just unbelievable.
And you play. We already had a couple of the questions about it. Ponderosa 42 is asking what type of thumb pick. You play with a thumb pick.
Yeah,
And
I do. Usually, it's a national medium.
Maybe we can get a shot of that.
I don't know if you can see that. All right.
Yep.
And I like the one that looks like tortoiseshell.
Mhm.
You know.
And
the
that's
thumb pick I use.
nothing magical about that.
Nope.
Regular old standard ones. I know they have white
Yeah.
ones as well. They have
Yeah.
tortoiseshell ones. Rich Litch is asking, what is the make of the capo that you're using tonight?
Oh, this is an Elliott capo, and Elliott makes great capos. They're also in Texas.
Mhm.
It's a real thin line capo, and the thing I like about it is that it stores on the guitar.
Oh, that's
Right back there.
nice.
You just tighten it down just a little bit.
It's got a
and
little screw on the
it's
back. I
there.
don't know if y'all can see that, but it's
Yeah.
got a little screw.
I'll show you here, and you screw it in from the center, and so it pulls from the center, so you can get an
Yep.
even pull on all the strings. And I just took it off, and I should still be in tune.
What
Yes.
an Elliott capo? Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know what their website name is by any chance?
ElliottCapos.com.
Fabian, you've already got it. You're faster than I can even think about it. Very cool. All right. Well, let's talk about a little bit about James Taylor's style and some of his music. What are
Okay.
some of the things that you have found in studying his style and keys to playing it?
Keys to playing it, one thing, that's the key on the guitar. Like, he doesn't do a lot in B flat, unless he uses his capo.
Yeah.
Then he'd put a capo and play it probably out of A.
Plays quite a bit with a capo.
Plays a lot with a capo. He'll play out of A, D, G sometimes, E sometimes.
Usually capoed around the third or fourth.
Yeah, second. I heard something today. He was capoed on the first fret. I'd never seen him do that before. Just saw him on YouTube. But some of the things that are interesting about his playing, like in that arrangement I did on Eagle's Wings, on the intro, where the bass keeps falling off the beat. Okay. And those kinds of things are real common to his playing, and that's kind of a ripoff from The Secret of Life, which is one of his great songs. The other thing is he'll oftentimes anticipate the chord with the bass note. A lot of times,
Right.
if you're playing a bossa nova, the bass is always on 1 and 3, and the chord is always anticipating. But on this tune that I did, I had the bass anticipating. Those things, and those are real key things to think about when you're trying to arrange in his style.
I know he's got some videos on his website of him actually playing some of his signature songs, and in watching him play his songs, it's noticeable how he plays different forms. Like he'll play an A with that first finger tucked under.
Yeah.
Same thing with the D. He'll do.
Yeah, he does that.
Kind of an odd fingering for that, but it's able to get those hammer-ons and pull-offs that he's known for. It throws in.
Yeah, it works great for him. And he's probably 69, 70 years old. So when he was learning, there was no guitar teacher, and that's the beauty of that, because there's no one to tell him, no, you play a D like this, pal. You don't do that. So back then you just find what works, and there's great value in that. Of course, you're a studied player, so you know that there's great value in learning about music too. But every now and then you get a gem like James Taylor.
It was fascinating watching him play his stuff, because the ornamentation is, boy, you can hear him play for 10 seconds and you go, that's James Taylor playing that. Just how he's approaching the hammer-ons and pull-offs, stuff like that. It's just a little bit different, and I thought, gosh, what could that be? You can fake it doing a standard tuning or standard fingering, get close to it, but the emphasis is a little bit different, and then you look at his hand and think, oh, well, there you go. He's fingering all crazy. That's why he's able to do that.
Yeah. I never looked at his hand when I was learning his stuff. I just, I listened to his records and do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah. It's interesting. I was glad he put those videos up on his site.
Yeah.
There's nothing too magical about it. It's basically just him saying, okay, now I'm going to play this song, and he plays it.
He's got that little camera inside his guitar.
So you can see how he's fingering, but he does a lot of just accompanying with his first finger, just kind of.
Just brushing across the strings,
kind of a
like on Fire and Rain.
Yeah.
And then he gets real specific in between.
Yeah.
When he does that. It goes back to the little strummy kind of thing that he does.
I wonder, as I've watched a lot of videos of him the last few weeks, all of the ornamentation, which seems rather improvised, I doubt that very much of that is improvised. It seems like he plays pretty consistently those different da-da-da-da, all that kind of stuff in that place every time, whether he's on stage, with Taylor Swift, or whether he's doing a solo concert, or he's doing a little video with nobody there. He plays that same lick the same way. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what makes him James Taylor.
Yeah. And he's still very much active. He's in London right now, new project coming out. So, so fascinating. Can you play us some of his kind of signature licks, intros, or something like that? Kind of talk about that for a second.
I'm going to play one it's a really fun one. This one's it's called Like Everyone She Knows, and he did a long guitar intro before the band comes in. So I'm going to play you the guitar intro that he did for that.
Beautiful.
That's a very cool intro.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just in
it's
A.
it's a great piece. Yeah, it's played out of A. It's actually in the key of B, but we play it out of A on guitar. And he does a lot of these chords where he'll play like an E chord, but with an F sharp in the bass. And then he goes D, and then A over a B. It's really interesting the way he works that bass line going up there, and
Right.
he's brilliant.
Very uniquely a guitar thing of how the slides come in, the formation of the chords, and it just sounds so natural on guitar. And he plays in pretty guitar-friendly keys. He doesn't vary too far from Ds and As and things like that. Stays pretty close to traditional chord forms, but the picking, of which you're using a thumb pick, he doesn't use a thumb pick.
Right.
But he's got nails as long as they're crazy long.
Yeah. I don't do a good thumbnail, so I just use a thumb pick. And I've got,
That always seems much more comfortable. I played with a thumb pick for many years. His nails on that video were a 1/4 inch at least on every nail. It was a lot of nail. And he even had a nail video where he talked all about, taking care of your nails and buffing and all that kind of stuff. And keeping track of all that sort of stuff. Had a question about tuning. He seems to play pretty much in standard tuning. I don't know of anything that he does that is not in standard tuning.
He does Country Road and Drop D.
Okay. Anything else? I can't think of anything else.
I don't nothing comes to mind.
Drop D just being standard tuning, but they take the lowest 6th string, which would normally be an E, and drop that down to a D. So then you play in the key of D often, and ends up getting a very rich sound with that low D in there. It's very, very great tuning. I had a question. How do you learn to memorize pieces? Tricky. That's how do you work on memorization of a big elaborate piece?
I think that's everyone's issue with students that I've had. You have to find out how you learn best. I think some people are better visual learners. Some people are better oral learners, and so you got to find out what works best for you. With me, I learn kind of better with a combination of them. I listen to the song a lot. If it's a new song for me, I'll listen to it a bunch, and then I might write it down on a piece of paper, and then I pretty much got it. But if you're not real familiar with learning tunes on guitar, I would recommend starting by listening to the song a lot, 10 or 15 times all the way through with no distractions, and then just take the beginning, like the first 4 bars. And if it's a hard tune, take 1 bar. You know, take a half a measure, whatever. Just take a little bit and then build on that. Then when you get that, for those first 4 bars, then put those aside and work on the next 4 bars. And then put them together.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you got 8 measures. And I think it's a really fast way to learn music. It is for me anyway.
There's the listening to the song. There's the working out of the song, so you're kind of going through the repetition of doing all of that as you're working it out. And then sometimes it helps, I know it helps me to just kind of write out. It doesn't have to be full out notation, but just some sort of scribble notes to myself of what's happening in the chords or how the melody line is moving. And so I'm processing the information in my brain several different ways. I've listened to it. I've worked it out physically with my hand. Now I've been able to process it enough to write it out. In the process of doing all that sort of stuff, you have a tendency to internalize it, especially if you've played the piece a lot along the way.
Yeah, that's good.
A lot of it is just repetition. You just work with that piece enough, and you know it. You know how to drive to your office because you've just done it a lot. Things with guitar playing and memorization stuff, you just play that piece a lot. Not just hashing it out, but also performing it, playing it from front to back will help solidify that as well.
Play it for your family. That was always the hardest thing for me when I was growing up, was performing for my family.
Yeah.
I would sweat bullets before I had to play anything for my family. And I could go out in front of 100 people I'd never met, and it was fine, but these people knew me really well, and so they could read every expression on my face, you know, and I'm a dead giveaway when I make a mistake, you know. I'm the biggest tattletale the world's ever seen.
Country Blues is asking, does Pete ever use any of these sort of tools to learn songs like the Amazing Slowdowner? Another one that I've come across lately is Riff Station, which is fantastic. You ever use?
I use Amazing Slowdowner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use that a lot.
Yeah. Which is really helpful.
It's a great tool.
Great tool.
We'd really be something if we had that when we were kids.
And YouTube.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Man, this doing cassette tapes and listening to, LPs and trying to figure things off of that. It was a slow slog trying to learn a tune. So yeah, check those out. Amazing Slowdowner. I'm not sure who puts that out or what the website.
RonnieMusic.com.
Yeah.
RONI.
RONI. Yeah. And then another one that I have gotten turned on to and really like is called Riff Station. So Riff Station is fantastic too. You just grab the MP3, physically bring it over Riff Station. It chugs there for about 30 seconds and then dumps it all in there. It has already analyzed the chords, so it's not 100% right, but it's about 75% of the way, and it'll show you all the chords already written out there. And so you can loop things and all kinds of stuff. So check it out. I think Riff Station is like $29 to get the full version, but there's a trial version as well. Amazing Slowdowner, I haven't checked it in the last few months. I'm not so sure about that. Very good. All right, let's give away some stuff. We've been talking for a while. Let's give away something. Let's give away. Pete, you had brought this. McGuire's Landing. When did you do this? You did this probably 2 years ago now?
It was maybe a year and a half ago it came out, I think.
Yeah. A good friend of ours, Jeff Cox, played a little
That's
bit
right.
on it. Played a few tracks on this.
Yes. Great bass player.
I teach out at a wonderful university here in Nashville, Trevecca, and I have had students that have done pieces from this project. And we've sat in juries, and they've played pieces from this project.
That's cool.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So tell us a story about this, because this is more than just the CD. There's
more than the CD. There's a book. It's a short story that I wrote, and it came up from this tune that I wrote back when I was working for John Denver. And the tune I called McGuire's Landing, and he liked it and wanted to know what it was about. And I didn't really have anything that it was about, and that wasn't a very good answer for him. He wanted an answer, so I made up a story, and he said, "I like that. I'm going to write the lyrics to it." And unfortunately, he passed away before he got a chance to write the lyrics. But it was always kind of mulling around in the back of my mind. And then I started kind of working on pieces. Every now and then I'd find a piece that I thought might go well with that piece, and I'd put it aside. And then after I got healthy enough to play again, my wife said, honey, you got a project you got to finish. And
Yeah.
so I finished it. It's a story of an Irish immigrant, S. McGuire, who came to America in 1865 on a boat from Ireland, as were most Irish immigrants back then.
They rarely come from Mexico these
That's
days.
well, yeah. That's funny. Anyway, so he came to America because he had a dream in his heart of a place he wanted to be. It was out in the great American West, on a big beautiful lake, and he found it. As luck would have it for the story, he found it, and the story is a lot of fun to read, and the music was pretty amazing. You know, speaking of James Taylor, Andrea Zahn played fiddle on several of the tracks for me. She's an old friend of mine from years and years ago, and so she came over and played on several tracks, and Herb Peterson played on it. He's a great LA session guy and a good friend of mine. Byron House played on it, Jeff Taylor, and I had Don Hart in town in Nashville here. He's a string arranger, and he arranged strings for several of the pieces on there. And then I had, of course, you know, every story has a love interest, so the love interest had to have an amazing singer, so my friend Molly Weaver from LA came to town and sang a couple songs for me.
Just a gorgeous project. If you don't win this, you can check this out at Pete's website, PeteHuttlinger.com, in the store there. So, but someone is about to win this. The winner of this is Sleeping Angel. Sleeping Angel, Maria. Congratulations. Good to see you tonight, Maria. If you would be so gracious as to sign this before we go.
Be happy to.
Maria, send me your information at service@mightyoakmusic.com. You know the drill. Mailing information, phone number, stuff like that, and we will get this out to you. So congratulations. And then on your website, might as well talk about that while we're thinking about it. You've got all kinds of resources. I think there's a book that comes along with this too, that is available on the
yes.
on
There's
the
a
website.
transcription book of all the guitar from the record.
Yeah.
On my website, I've got, you know, I have a free tablature section where people can go on there and they can get free tab. I've been doing a thing every Tuesday for the last 14 weeks that we call Tune Tuesday, and we post it on Facebook every Tuesday morning, and I have videoed myself playing a lot of tunes, and then I give the sheet music away for free on Tuesday only.
Yeah.
So today, there's still time, actually, because today's Tuesday. So after you get off of this show, you want to go to my Facebook page, and that'll give you the info on the Tune Tuesday stuff.
Yeah. Okay. We have put together a bunch of resources for learning the James Taylor stuff. One of them is there's a book, there's video, and there's some jam tracks. The book is this great book that I found, and I looked through way too many of them. This is put out by Hal Leonard, and it has, about 9 or 10 of his most well-known songs: Sweet Baby James, Carolina on My Mind, Long Ago and Far Away, Fire and Rain, Country Road, we already talked about. Don't Let Me Be Lonely Tonight, we'll play that one here in a little bit. So that is part of it. It's got sheet music, got the tab in it, and I've been reading through it. It is pretty accurate on what's going on to what he's playing. So it comes with the book, and then it also comes with the there's video that is coming at you from our friends over at Lick Library. They have 3 hours worth of video content. Now, some of you guys are fussing at me. It is not a DVD. I know sometimes we do DVDs. This is not a DVD. Stop writing me nasty emails that you're expecting a DVD. It's not a DVD. I put that clearly in the content there. This is a video download. So what happens is you buy I think it's the blue link underneath your Ustream window. If you're interested, you click that link. It orders it. We send out the book from here, and then all your information goes over to Lick Library. They set up an account over at Lick Library for you. They send you an email with all the login information. You log in over there and go to their section that says My Lick Library. Underneath there is My Media. You'll see waiting for you there 3 hours worth of video instruction by one of their great instructors over there, Lee Hodgins, about I think 5 or 6 of James Taylor's well-known songs, as well as the jam tracks are over there as well. So check that out. If you're interested, that's only going to be good till the end of this week. The sale closes down midnight on Sunday. $44, you get the book, you get the video stuff, and the jam tracks. It's the best James Taylor stuff that I could rustle up. So if you're interested, check that out. Oh, also as well, this I'm very excited to get in the mail. Our friends over at Fishman, I haven't even opened this up because I don't want to do it. This is the Fishman Aura Spectrum guitar effects, acoustic guitar processor. Kind of the Rolls Royce of acoustic guitar processors. And a good friend, Chris DeMaria from Fishman, sent this over. And
Chris.
so, do you know Chris?
Oh, very
great
well,
guy. And he is gave us one, and we are doing a giveaway. So underneath your Ustream window right now, if you go to that red, there's a red button there. If you click the red button, register for this. Put in your first name, email address, birthday if you want to, and then you'll be registered for this. They've had some problems with the emails, confirmation emails coming back to you. Don't worry. Everybody's, as soon as you put your email address, you're registered. So there you go. And we're going to give this away next week. So if you're interested, you don't have to register more than once. It doesn't work that way. So once you're in, you're in. But someone is going to win about a $329 acoustic guitar processor next week on the show next week. So make sure you register for that. If you're interested in the James Taylor resources, check those out as well, because that sale will be ending this week as well. I think I've mentioned everything that I need to mention on that stuff. Can you play us something?
Yes, I can.
Anything.
Yeah, I'll play this is a tune that James recorded, and I did an arrangement for it based on the chord changes that he used for this old song called The Water is Wide.
Oh,
You know
okay.
that song,
Mm-hmm.
Water is Wide? So I do it in F. If you want to play along, feel free. And it goes like this.
Beautiful.
It's a nice piece.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right. We are to the second half of the show. If you are interested in asking Pete a question or something like that, go ahead and type that into the chat, and we will try to get to as many questions as we can. We already had a couple questions come in. Don Cole from New Brunswick, Canada, is saying, Pete, is it possible to play something from your Appalachian Spring CD? Perhaps Keep on the Sunny Side. And do you have any plans for producing sheet music or a book for this CD?
Don Cole, where in the world did you find that CD? You're the guy who bought it, huh? that CD was it's what we call in Nashville a work for hire.
Yes.
So it's not one that I do things for, but we can do Keep It on the Sunny Side if you want.
Can you play
Yeah,
a
it's
few
in
bars
C.
of it?
Take one.
There you go. I got halfway through that song and realized I'm still in drop D tuning. So I probably should fix that up
just
there.
makes things interesting.
There
doesn't
you go.
it?
Keeps you on your toes there, you know?
Yeah.
Not that a guitar player has ever made that mistake before. But, all right, we had Little Shelby is asking, Pete, I was thinking of getting a John Denver lesson DVD. What book should I buy?
Book, buy a DVD. You said you wanted a DVD, and then you asked what book you should buy. I'm not sure what your question is, but I'm going to tell you, you should buy a DVD. I've got 4 of them that I did for homespun tapes. We did a series called Learn to Play the Songs of John Denver, Volume 1 through 4. Volume 1 is the easiest of the material.
Yeah.
Has things like My Sweet Lady on it and simple songs like that to play. By the time you get to Volume 3, I think maybe you're doing Rocky Mountain High or something.
Mm-hmm.
But you can go on my website and read all the titles that are on them.
How long did you play with him?
4 years.
4 years, the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I imagine that was such a tragic thing there at the
Oh,
end.
yeah. That was
When was
that
that?
was a
Gosh,
shock.
that was
in 1997.
1997.
October. Yeah.
Quite a ways away.
Almost 20 years ago.
It's hard to imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
How did you initially meet him? How'd you get that gig?
I was playing on a record for a friend of mine, and it was being produced by a guy who worked for John.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy said, hey, we need a guitar player to go to China. You want to go? I said, okay. China sounds good. We never went to China, though. We went everywhere else on the planet, it seemed like, but we didn't get into China. Yeah, it was a great gig. He was a great guy. I still miss him.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Had a couple more questions there. Little Joe, Mark from Bossier City, Louisiana is asking, he's asking me something. Steve, in watching session 9, you moved from an F 6-string bar chord form to a C7. Looks like I just keep my third finger anchored on the 5th string, which is something that you would probably do since the C is common between both of those. In any sort of chord change, if you have 2 chords that share a same finger, you can get a lot of good. You want as little emotion as possible. At least I'm a guitar player. I want to do as little work as possible. So if I can just keep a a finger down between a couple of chords or something like that, it helps solidify your hand in its positioning and just makes
Economy of motion.
economy of motion.
Yeah. I tell my students exactly what you just said. I got into guitar playing because I don't want to work for a living. And I don't want to work so badly that I want to make it as easy as I can to even play the guitar. So when I'm going from A to E, I'm going to keep that finger on the string, and that one sometimes I'll just use a partial E.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little tricks like that also help with extending. You don't really notice this so much when you're kind of just starting out your guitar learning journey, but as you get more developed, as you listen to your chord playing, if your chord playing sounds really choppy, well, what's going on there is if I can keep notes ringing over and overlapping into other chords through a common fingering or something like that, then suddenly this overlapping of tones creates a smoother sounding progression. So the fact that I've got a few of those notes that are common between all of these allows the progression to sound a whole lot more smooth.
Right, exactly.
Because you've got notes that are ringing out between both those progressions, even though that's exactly the right chord, that's exactly the right chord, you're not doing nothing wrong, but if I can keep some of them ringing, it makes the progression sound smoother. So that's a little trick in doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sitting there next to the master on this.
No,
Feel free to chime in.
You're every bit the master I am. That's exactly what I do too. I try to find common fingers between the chords.
Yeah.
So I don't have to. Well, what you said about things ringing into chords is exactly what I'm shooting for whenever I play the guitar. I want it all to sound as smooth as it can be.
Yeah.
And that's something I struggled with after I had the stroke. I couldn't play anything.
Yeah.
And so I struggled for quite a while to get that smoothness going again.
Yeah.
You could hear that one where I had to do a shift. But there's another thing that I had to do when I was in college. You do this exercise where you play just these triads, say on the second, third, and fourth strings, all the triads in a scale. Okay. And you play them, and you go as fast. You make the motion as fast as you can in between the chords, so like this. So all the fingers are moving immediately.
Mm-hmm.
It's very quick motions, but you don't have to make a lot of racket on the guitar to do that. And that's another part of the trick is how do I not get all the squeakiness.
Right.
I
remember
very quick motions.
Remember hearing Russ Barenberg, Russ, whose playing is so just gorgeous, beautiful, very rich playing. I remember him just throwing off a little comment one time saying that he spends more time listening, paying attention to the ends of notes than the beginning of notes.
That's good.
We think a lot about the beginning of notes. How do I play this and stuff like that? And we're not often thinking about how that note is ending. How long can I get that note to go before I change?
Yeah.
When you do that, you're able to create a much more smooth sounding progression. Yeah, moving your hand fast. Even open strings ringing, you can use those to your advantage sometimes to get some connection between these various chords. Anyway, how do we get off on all that stuff? Hey, let's give away one more thing. Tell us about this project that's coming up.
Okay. I did a book 10 years ago called the Peter Huttlinger Collection. It was a collection of fingerstyle guitar tunes that I had written or some covers that I had done.
Mm-hmm.
And so I finally I'm about to release volume 2 of this collection. There are 30 tunes in in this book. It's 164 pages of music.
Sheet music, tab.
Sheet music and tab.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a great book. I mean, I did a lot of my tunes. I did some of the Stevie Wonder things that I'm kind of famous for, and just a lot of tunes. And we're making a deal for everyone here who wants to pre-order this book. You get $5 off.
And how do they get in on that?
Here's the trick. You go to my website. It's PeteHuttlinger.com. Huttlinger has 2 T's. And go into the store, choose that book, and then when you go to check out, there's a section there that says coupon code. Enter the code pre-order. 2 words, not hyphenated. Pre-order, and you'll get $5 off immediately for the book.
Yeah.
And I'll be happy to autograph any of them that anyone pre-orders too.
But this isn't out yet. When do you expect this to actually be?
Oh, 2 weeks at the most.
So it's at the printer.
It's at the printer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But someone is going to win one of these right now. The winner of this one is, I'm not going to pronounce this, TGNYTG. TGNYTG. You have just won this book. Send us your information, and I will forward that on to you.
Okay.
Send us your information, TG, at service@mightyoakmusic.com. Send me your mailing information, phone number, email address, screen name, what you won, things like that, and we can get this out to you. And the rest of you, if you're interested in that, check it out on Pete's website and get the $5 off. That's always fun.
Hey, while we're talking teaching, can I tell them about the camps?
Yeah. What else do you have going on?
We've been doing some camps at our house, and it's funny that you would call me on this James Taylor month that you're doing, because it started from James Taylor's music. We had a problem just teaching them on video, so my wife said, why don't you just teach them here? And so we open up our house maybe 4 or 5 times a year for a weekend. We get 8 to 9 students who come.
Here in Nashville.
In Nashville, at our house, and my wife's an unbelievable cook. She makes great food. Take a bow, honey. And I'm pretty handy on the grill, so I handle all the dinner meat stuff. And but we get there at 9:30 on Friday morning, do lessons until 1. We break for a great lunch, play from 2 to 5, maybe have a beer or something while I'm grilling, and then people are always sitting around playing guitars while I'm cooking. That's kind of the rule. You got to be playing while I'm cooking. Mm-hmm. I just love to hear guitars playing in my house. And then Saturday we do the same thing, but Saturday night we have a jam session at our house. So all the students get to jam. They get to show what they can do, and they aren't required to, but oftentimes people who say, oh, I couldn't, they come out of their shell, and I've been surprised many times by how good people are and all that they have to offer. And then, and I also have friends of mine from around Nashville come over and join us on the jam session. So sometimes our living room is pretty darn packed with people. Guitars everywhere. And then Sunday we meet again. We do a wrap up for the weekend, and everyone goes home. And it's great fun. We've got one coming up in November, and maybe September of this year, or October. You have to go on my website and see. There's a button that says camps, and you can find it there. But the big one really is that we do a thing that I call Pete Huttlinger's Guitar and Fly Fishing Camp. Now, you laugh, but let me tell you what, buddy. There is nothing like it. It's in a place they call Paradise Valley in Montana, if that gives you any clue. Mm-hmm. We do it at a place called Music Ranch, Montana, which is a beautiful venue that this guy built on a ranch in Montana. It looks like a barn from the outside. You get inside, and it's a full-blown music venue. And he lets us host our camps there. And so, once again, we've got a cook and all that. And we do, the schedule is pretty much the same, but I have a flat picking guy who comes and teaches flat picking, and I do finger picking. Mm-hmm. That way we can accommodate more students, because Montana is just so beautiful, and it needs to be shared with a lot of people. And but the mornings and the evenings, the sun doesn't go down till 9:30 or 10 o'clock in July up there, so you can go fishing at night. And if you're not familiar with fly fishing, it doesn't matter, because on the third day or the fourth day of the camp, that day is dedicated solely to fly fishing. And I've currently got 10 or 12 boats lined up, all with guides, and 2 people get in each boat along with the guide. And the guides are great. They put everyone on fish. We had guys who'd never done any kind of fishing last year, and they got big smiles on their faces holding these beautiful trout. So if you're looking for something to do this coming July 26th through the 30th, it's a great time. Yeah. And Jeff Troxel, who's the flat picking guy, he's an old buddy of mine from college. We went to Berkeley together, and he's a flat picking champion. He won that a couple of years after I won the finger picking championship. He came down and won that. So we've hooked up again over the years, and he's a great teacher as well. Mm-hmm. You'd love him. He's a great jazz player.
I've heard great things about him.
Yeah.
Okay, we probably should land this ship here. We are still working out our guitar conference, our little mini guitar conference that we're trying to put together this year. Hopefully we'll have some more information up on that in the next couple of days. Going to be here in Nashville during NAMM week, which is July 7th through the 10th, something like that. I tried to get the All-Star Muriel Anderson's All-Star Guitar Night, but I was told that they're not, of which you've been on.
They're not doing it this year.
You've done it many years, and I've told that they were not doing it this year.
Yeah.
So sad about that, but we'll try and get a tour of Gibson or something going on there for the gang. So anyway, stay tuned for information regarding that. Okay, couple of announcements. Our next live lesson will be next week, May 5th. We'll be giving away the Fishman unit. So if you haven't registered, register. Get everybody you know to register. They put up some new lessons over at Gibson Skills House. One of them is I put up a foundation lesson about building many chords from one form, using one form as a base to build all kinds of different chords from it. A D2, a D suspended, A with a D in the bass, or a D major ninth. So you can use all kinds of using one form to branch out and to get many more complex forms. So it teaches you about that. The other one we have over there is do a style lesson on octaves, jazz octaves and things like that. Got a workout, 10-minute power workout on open chords, if that's where you're at, kind of around session 5, 6, 7, and 8, and you're working on your open chords, then check that out. And then we've got a great artist interview with Musicians Hall of Fame guitarist Will McFarlane is over there as well. So all those great things. I want to thank our producer tonight, Garrett Hessela, and then our cameraman, our wonderful new cameraman, my wonderful son Daniel is here with us doing that. We also have a bunch of Learn a Master Guitar guests here with us, so thank you all so much for being here. If ever you're coming through Nashville, let us know. And if it's on a live lesson night, just let me know, and you're more than welcome to come here. And if it's not on a live lesson night, just call us up or shoot me an email at service@mightyoakmusic.com and tell us you're coming through. We have lunch with Learn a Master Guitar learners all the time. You'll be surprised how little it takes for me and Greg to say yes to lunch. And then you get a wonderful behind-the-scenes tour of Gruen Guitars, this amazing store, and it's a lot of fun. So don't hesitate to do that. You're coming through on business or something like that, it's fun. I like meeting you. It's a joy for me to do. So there you go. We're going to play, to take us out, we're going to play this song, James Taylor's song, Don't Let Me Be Lonely Tonight. I put the sheet music up on our website, which is just the little chord chart, and I did some scribbles on top of it for the accents and whatnot. That actual full version of this song is in this book. So both the guitar parts, the acoustic part, and the electric part on the recording are in this book, which is the official guitar recorded versions of everything that of these 9 or so tunes. But one of them is in here. So it's a great resource, and we're going to play that.
All right, here goes. Do me wrong, do me right, tell me lies, but hold me tight. Save your goodbyes for the morning light. Don't let me be lonely tonight. Say goodbye and say hello. Sure enough, good to see you, but it's time to go. Don't say yes, please don't say no. I don't want to be lonely tonight. Go away, then damn you. Go on and do as you please. You ain't gonna see me getting down on my knees. I'm undecided and your heart's been divided. You've been turning my world upside down. Do me wrong, do me right now, babe. Go on and tell me lies, but hold me tight. Don't say yes, please don't say no. I don't want to be lonely tonight. I don't want to be lonely tonight. No, no, I don't want to be lonely tonight. Don't want to be lonely tonight.
Wonderful.
Beautiful.
Thank you so
Beautiful
much,
job.
Pete, for being here
Thanks,
with
Steve.
us. Always
Thanks
a
so
joy
much.
to have you. Keep up the great work on your guitar learning at home. Playing music is an amazing, wonderful privilege of doing. Bring some other people into your guitar learning journey as well. That's always great. Hey, we'll see you guys next week. Have a fantastic week.